Today, I will present my topic na about the bells by Edgar Allan Poe. So, Edgar Allan Poe was a famous American poet and short story writer. So, Poe was born in Boston in 1809 and died in 1849 in uh, Baltimore. So the background of the bells is divided into four parts. So each part is subsequently longer than the preceding part. So for example, the first stanza is only 14 lines. So the second stanza is 21 lines and the third stanza is 34 lines, and the last stanza is 43 lines. So each stanza is devoted to the narrator's reaction to a different kind of bell. So sledge or slide bell, uh, wedding bells, alarm bells, and finally the morning bells. So here is the picture of the first stanza of the bells. So the tone is drown light-hearted as the narrator discusses the tinkle of the bells and the twinkle of the stars. So the second stanza about the wedding bells is still pleasant but slightly more serious than a stage ride. So harmony is mentioned before the poem transition into rapture. So harmony is positive, innocent word, whereas rapture, while positive in this context, can be associated with madness and stronger intensity that goes beyond simple bliss. So, the second half of the poem is even more intense. And the third stanza is about alarm bells that scream and are too horrified to speak. So, the fourth stanza, which describe bells that one is more doleful in tone and presence in melancholy menace to listeners that makes those who hear the bells shiver. So, here are the fourth stanza of the bells. So, literary analysis is image picture found in the lines, example, leaves, moon, stars. The imagery that I can see is the silver bells to represent the time of winter merriment. So, it is excitement. Golden bells represent the happiness of the wedding ceremony, so it is a celebration. Brazen bells represent terror and fear itself, so it is a horror. Iron bells represent sorrow and sadness, so it is a death. So the literary analysis symbolism, what the bells written at the end of Poe's life, this incantatory poem examines bell sounds as symbol of four milestone of human experience. So childhood, youth, maturity, and death. So it is the milestone of human experience. Figurative language. The figurative language used the bells are metaphor, alliteration, personification, imagery, apostrophe, and assonance. So, the rhymes and rhythm, those rhyming words, twinkle and sprinkle. Also, the twinkle and the sprinkle are super important for this poem. Not only do they rhyme with tinkle, but also sounds alike, lot alike the things they are describing. So that this technique called onomatopoeia is one of the poet's main style in this poem. So listen to all words at tinkle, sprinkle, and twinkle. The theme is the poem deals with themes like fear of death and the inevitable uh, progression of the life cycle from youth to death. So reflection, the question is, did you find the poem easy to understand? Why did you say so? So for me, it's not easy to understand, especially if you know the style of the author of how he writes poem. So if you were to rewrite this poem, what would be your title and why? So if I rewrite this poem, I entitled Winter of Life, which show that your life is not stay what you have now. So life is not permanent. What we've experienced today is temporary. So if you suffer today, believe that tomorrow will better than today. So, The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe. The other comments about The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe is one of his more well-known poems. So, after masterpieces like The Raven, of course, The Bells is the most often and interpreted as an allegory for the seasons of life. From the beautiful silver bells of youth to the frightening iron chart, bells that toll old age and death. So the poem deals with the themes like fear of death and the inevitable progression of the life cycle from youth to death. So these are the references that I used for my presentation, and I'm Florence C. Aurin, the presenter, and thank you.